There we are. Go live. Sweet. Chair here. Feels good. Oh, wait, that's actually more comfortable. Yo, what's going on, Spark? You are officially the first one in today, so welcome in. Hello. You are number 2. Miss you a lot, man. Well, we're back. We're back. Yeah, I had a wedding this weekend, so I was out of commish on Thursday. What's up, Tracy? How are you? Yeah, I had a wedding on Thursday, had some stuff to go on Friday, but we're back in the saddle today, so not that hungover today. I was yesterday, for sure. I was hungover yesterday. Hey, John, how's it going? Good evening. Good evening to you as well. Good evening to you as well. We're doing better today. Was feeling a little shaky yesterday, but today we're doing good. Today we are doing good. All right, let me get this. Let me get this chart in the center here. Daily. There we are. Are we in? Yeah, there we go. We're in. I am broadcasting on both vertical and horizontal, so can't be hungover if you keep drinking. Yeah, facts. I need to go get another drink. I'll be right back. No, I'm just playing. I don't drink. I drink, but I don't drink that much. So when it hits me pretty hard. Hey, Nick, what's up, Roro? Am I the first one to join? Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not, but you're in the top 5. You're in the top 5. We had Sparsh was first. Then, let's see, who came? Was it Tracy that was second or third? Kush is 5th. John's 5th. So you'd be 6. You'd be 6, Roro, but you're still top 10. Still top 10. What do we got? Damn it, LOL. So close. Sparsh was right on the money. I mean, that was he was Sparsh was fast. Bitcoin as planned. Yeah, no changes to Bitcoin right now. To me, this just looks like a wave C. Even on the weekly, it's suggesting that too. So if we go to the weekly time frame, let me see if I can get all this in here. So on the weekly time frame, where's my favorites? There we go. On the weekly time frame, it looks like this: A, B, and then C on the weekly. On the daily, it just looks more like a complex structure on the daily. Let me see. Can I get all that in? Yeah, on the daily time frame, it looks like this complex A wave. Then we have this A, B, C, B wave, and then we're in the C. So if we put all of that together, it looks like this. A, B, and then we're in the C. Change that to white. Move this up a little bit so then you can see the C. So something like that. Something like that. Just a complex A with a 3-way B. This was actually the simpler one. This one right here, A, B, C, which for me that's a B wave, sorry. And then this is a complex A. So we have an A, B, C, an A, B, C, and then this A, B, C, A, B, and then C. So we have like this complex sort of 3-way movement up, 3-way movement down, and then this next 3-way movement for the A, B, C for the B, and then this C upwards. So no changes right now. No changes to the plan. What do we got? What do we got? Check out micro. No, we're not going to do that. So if you're going to spam, then you're getting blocked. So we're not going to spam. Do you have any idea where that wave 4 ends? Yeah, so I was playing around with another sort of indicator, as if you will. I've used it in the past. Now, I did a video about it today. I'll show you what it looks like here on the weekly, but for those of you that are familiar with fair value gaps, some of you guys may be familiar with them, others may not. Essentially, it is a strategy that finds imbalances in when would you flip bullish. So let me answer the zone first, and then I can touch on the bullish. What's up, Ahmed? How are you? So I'm not I don't know the whole thing behind fair value gaps, but all I know is it's an imbalance in order flow and imbalance in price action. And we had two of them here. Up here is the, you can see by these red fair value gap, and then there's a green one. So on this wave forward back here in December, January, we had this drop down, which created this fair value gap right here. And price from the wave 3 pumped into the fair value gap, which was my wave 4, and then rejected lower. And we're seeing the same thing here. So this zone, where's my box? This zone right here is the fair value gap here on the, and then if I remove the, so this is the next fair value gap, and we remove this indicator, and then we'll go down to the daily time frame. So you can see here, this fair value gap on the weekly was created in this zone. So as price came down for this 1, 2, and then 3, during this wave 3 right here, so let me remove this. During this, stupid ads, during this wave 3, this fair value gap was created. And in doing so, it actually provided a pretty interesting position, and I was waiting to see if it would confirm. I didn't want to talk a lot about it yet, just because it was something I was playing around to see if it would line up with wave counts. But we had this 1, 2, and then 3, and during that 3, we had the fair value gap created, and lo and behold, price is moving that way into that gap. So to me, that is my zone that I'm looking to take a short trade in. So this 81 to like 85, 84 basically zone is where I'm looking to take a trade. And I think we entered it already. Yeah, we kind of ticked into it on the 22nd. So that was what, 4 days ago? Yeah, so we ticked into it 4 days ago. We kind of got bounced out. We might try to go into it again. And then that for me is going to fuel for the leg 3. But if we look at it on a weekly time frame, the fair value gap was back up here again for the wave 4. And then that's the zone I'm paying attention to for my short trade. So this goes in line with my wave 4. So we have a wave 4 pump in and then expecting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move out. So that's the next plan. What do we got? AMD. Yeah, we could look at AMD. When would I flip bullish? So the first stage I would look at potentially flipping bullish is, let me remove all these drawings here, is right here at 87,193. That is the bottom of wave 1. So we have this wave 1, 2, 3, this 4 up here, and then 5. So where I would look to potentially flip bullish is if we go above 87,193. That would invalidate this structure developing. So this is a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and then a 5. So that is the period of time when I would look to flip potentially bullish. Let's see. I'm bullish for now. Yeah, I mean, if you got a strategy, great. I'm still leaning more downside just based on my analysis. What indicator is the name? So it's called, let me see if I can get this in screen here. Where is it? Let me add it to favorites. Hold on. How do I add it to favorites? Add this indicator favorites. It is the Fair Value Gap by Lux Algo. That's the name of the indicator. Fair Value Gap by Lux Algo. The author is Lux Algo. It's about 21,000, I guess, boosts, whatever that means. I don't really know. But it's called the Fair Value Gap by Lux Algo, and it just identifies gaps. And again, if you use it standalone, like, you know, obviously everything has its weaknesses, but if you combined it with Elliott Wave Theory, I've been finding a lot of confluences with it as far as where price wants to go. I want to see something real quick because I didn't do it on Robinhood yet, but I want to see if this also coincided with a gap on Robinhood at all. It actually did. Holy shit. All right, so this one's for you, Sparsh, because I know you like Robinhood. It actually coincided with these two fair value gaps right here on the monthly. So I I had Robinhood retracing to about 63 between the point 0.5 and the 0.618, which is also where these two fair value gaps were living, between 80 to 63. And lo and behold, we pumped down to the 618 and then rejected out of this fair value gap here on the monthly, which is pretty interesting to see. On the weekly, I mean, I don't really see anything on the weekly that would have prompted that, but the monthly for sure. And we had this A, B, and then C move down into a monthly gap. So that's pretty good. Confluence. I mean, we have a ABC movement down into these gaps at the 0.5 to the 0.618. So combining both of my strategies with using this has provided a lot of confluences, which I'm excited about. I think it just further enhances the strategy that I use. And Elliott Wave Theory is my technical analysis tool. That's mainly what I use. But if I can add some other layers to make it even better, I'm all about that. My first request is Hood. Yeah, no, Hood looks pretty good. Hood looks pretty good. What's the top of that fair value gap? On the weekly, 86,000. Up here at 86. So this level right here at the top is 86,000, like 50, 86,000, no, 86,015. So somewhere around that level, like 86,000. Yep, it rejected once already. Yeah, we pumped into it and then we got a little bit, but it's still consolidating right under it. So I do think we go back in. Altcoins seem very good. Yeah, I mean, altcoin short term, again, I am leaning more towards the, I guess, bearish side, if you want to put it that way. But as far as my next move, I'm waiting for this fifth leg. So I'm waiting for a 5-wave move down to complete this structure. And that to me occurs. Why is that doing that? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what I'm waiting for to the downside. And I've been like that since the beginning of February. So for those of you that have been in my TikTok live since February or even January, I've been documenting this whole move down. So it's something I've talked about for a while, but I'm just adding further confluences to the strategy. For me, this has just been a wave 4. There's really been no changes here for me. This has just been a wave 4. It's taken a really long time just because of the complexity of it. Like if you look at this structure, it's a very complex correction. And if you were in the streams back in January, or not January, end of February, beginning of February, the zones that I said we should pay attention to are 78 to 71K, potentially up to 84 at the 786. And we had an A wave up to the 0.5, a B wave down, and then we're currently in the C. Again, the 786 is at 84,000, which is another confluence zone, which coincides with the fair value gap. So pretty interesting to see those levels combined. But for me, this has just been a complex 4, and I'm expecting a 5-wave move down to complete the 5 and complete the structure. And that zone has always been 60 to 50K. Let's see. Would be funny if we go to 55K tomorrow. I'm not mad about that. I mean, that for me, that's my next target is 60 to 50K to complete the structure. So I wouldn't be mad about that at all. For me, I'm just having cash on the sideline waiting for that period of time. Do you follow Dr. Profit? I do not. No, I'm not. Is Dr. Profit on TikTok? I'm not sure. AMD has a crazy move. Yeah, we covered that today in the membership call today. We covered AMD, and AMD is looking pretty good long term. I seen you like Neo. Where do you see the company and stock in 5 years from now, in your opinion? I do like Neo. I am invested in Neo. That is one of the stocks that I do hold. So, I mean, my next subwave target is $12, and we've had this 5-wave move off the low with a correction, and then we're in the next impulse. My short-term target's $12. That's the next target I have on Neo. Can you do Injective? Yeah, I can do Injective. I own Injective. I bought in, I think we did this a while ago, but I bought in Injective. When did I buy Injective? Shit, I don't remember when I bought Injective. I can't remember, but I want to say somewhere after this wave 1, I think. I didn't buy it in 2022. I know that. I didn't buy Injective in 2022. I think I bought, let's see, February, March, April, May. I think I bought here in the wave 2. So I want to say I bought somewhere around $6 and then rode it up to 50. I did not sell. I probably should have taken some profits. Maybe I got a little greedy, but I did believe in this project long term. For me, this is a wave 1. This is the wave 2, and then the wave 3 I have next. My next target on it's about 71 to 87. So, oh wait, you can't see that on the screen. 71 to 87 is my next target on Injective. Somewhere around 71 to $87 is my next target on it. So I'm holding till then. I've been Injective for a while now, but yeah, to me this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5-leg move up, and then we're in this A, B, C corrective down for the major wave 2. Wave 3, somewhere between 71 to 87, we'll get a correction and then another move up. So I'm still holding Injective. Monthly compare Bitcoin to 800. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's similar. Yeah, to some extent. My next target on Bitcoin is about 200 to 250. 200 to 250. Can you teach how to option trade? So I do some option trades. I'm going to be honest, I'm not like a full-time options trader, so that's not something I do. A lot of the stuff that I do is more long-term investing. I do take swing trades from time to time, but I'm more of an investor as opposed to like a pure like day trader that trades daily. But I do have a membership program that I help people, with Elliott Wave Theory, coach them on Elliott Wave Theory. I also provide my long-term signals that when I buy stocks for the long term, and then I also provide my swing trades in there too. But I do a lot of coaching with individuals in the membership as well. But I do take, I'm looking to take a big Bitcoin swing short here soon. True, we've all been waiting for a big dip, but it might just pump. If you're talking about Bitcoin, I don't know. I mean, most of the sentiment out there I find is more bullish than bearish. So I'm not entirely sure what the rest of the market sees as next, but for me, the next move is 60 to 50K, and then we go to 200. That's how I'm playing it. Do you teach option trading in crypto? I do swing trades, yes, and I alert those to the VIPs for sure. Is Injective a good buy at current price, or is there more downside? Let's see. I mean, we're currently at way below the 786 fib. I mean, whoever threw the hearts, thank you for that. Is that Leah? Thank you for that. We're way below the 786 fib. I mean, if we throw some fair value gaps on here on the monthly, we are kind of in a monthly fair value gap right now on Injective, and you can see how we bounced out of that level. So this level down here, we basically entered it perfectly, and we're popping off of this level, which is pretty cool to see how some of these fibs line up. I mean, it's not perfect. It's kind of a combination of both, but we did have a fair value gap here, I think, that we got filled on this drop down. But we definitely have retraced low. I mean, we're way past the 786. We're down here at this monthly gap, kind of bouncing off of it now. The next gap on the monthly is up here at $9. So like $9 to almost $10. So I could see price wanting to go there next, but we may chop around here in a bit and then start the impulsive up. I could see something like an impulse to that level, an impulsive wave 1 here, rejection 2, impulsive 3 here, rejection 4, and then impulsive wave 5. But I do like Injective. I'm personally in Injective. I think my cost average is right around $6, I think, something like that. But I do think Injective may show relative strength. There may be some relative strength from Injective, but I do think with Bitcoin, again, my thesis having one more leg down, I do believe we're going to see altcoins correct as well. I mean, it's just the nature of it. When Bitcoin goes down, altcoins also correct. But when we do that, Injective could see some lower price action. If we go to the daily, it's had a good move off of that monthly gap. If we retrace from here, I mean, if we retrace from here 26%, you know, we're still in that gap. So I would say the downside risk is maybe 20 to 30%, but the upside is from current levels, you know, a 17x. So you're looking at a 1700% risk reward versus a maybe 27% risk. So the risk to reward is pretty good at these current levels, especially that we're in a monthly gap now and we are in sort of the deep fib retrace zone. I mean, we're way past the 786, so it looks pretty discounted to me. Fundamentals on it look pretty good, so that would be my opinion on Injective. But I do see altcoins coming down a little bit more once Bitcoin also corrects. So that would be my opinion. Most altcoins, and I'm waiting on the sideline. I'm putting cash on the sideline. I'm waiting for Bitcoin to drop, do its thing, have one more leg down for Bitcoin, which will probably bring down Injective, which will bring down XRP, which will bring down Ethereum, you know, all this stuff. Most cryptos will correct when Bitcoin corrects. So for me, I'm waiting for that, and then I'll deploy cash. But right now, I'm just being patient. Do you think Circle will go to 80 to fill that gap before going higher? I do have a limit order in on Circle at 83, but I believe I'm probably going to make it a bit lower, if I'm being honest. So if we look at Circle, for example, on the weekly, this is the structure. Let me move these blue so it's not overlapping. This is the structure that I've been trading off of right now. We have a 5-way move to the upside, and we're in this corrective 2. And actually, if you put the gaps on it, there is a gap here between $80 to $64. There's this weekly gap here. I wouldn't be surprised if Circle comes down into this gap. I have a limit order at the 618, but that didn't get filled here, which I think I'm probably going to put a limit order in at 79 and then another limit order in at like 70. Try to capture both of these moves down into this gap. You know, how deep do we retrace into this gap? I don't know. The 786 is down here at 68. You know, do we try to potentially come down and test that level? It's possible. But on the weekly, this could be an A wave, this could be a B wave, and then this could be the C wave lower, which the A wave almost went to the 618. And if we get a C wave down, you know, somewhere between the 618 to the 786 would be a likely scenario of where price wants to go. With this weekly gap being so big, you know, somewhere between 70 to maybe $80 is a good region here. I like that region. I'm setting limit orders there, so that's my plan. And then 228 is next for Circle. That's my next target is 228. So again, for those that don't know Elliott Wave, I mean, I feel like most people know fair value gaps. It may not be something that everyone knows, but I feel like fair value gaps are more well known as opposed to Elliott Wave Theory. I think Elliott Wave Theory is more niche, but I try to combine both now. So Elliott Wave with fair value gaps, and I find there's a lot of confluences between the two. So it just helps me be a little bit better. I mean, you can see here on this red fair value gap, you know, that we formed on this A wave down. So on the weekly, if I zoom in here, we formed this gap right here between this candle and this candle on the weekly, which could be a wave A, the B wave into the gap, and then we get a C wave down to this gap between 83 to 70. That would be a high likelihood zone that I pay attention to, and you know, I think setting limit orders there provides a good risk to reward for the next move up. But I like Circle from a fundamental standpoint. I really do. I think they're doing a lot of cool stuff in the stablecoin side, and I do think this has got a lot of potential moving forward. So that's why I'm positioning myself into it now, because if we look at the overall, just let me clear some of this stuff out of the way. If we look at the overall structure of Circle, like this thing recently had, you know, came into existence, IPO'd in June of 2025. We had sort of this IPO pump and then a dump, and then we had this impulse off the low. So for me, this was the low, and then we had a 5-way move up, which for me is the start of the first impulsive wave, which is great to see. So now we have an impulsive wave 1, this corrective 2, which we could see you know, like we just discussed, 80 to 70. Then we'll have the wave 3 up to 228 to 261. Then we'll have a corrective 4. And then we'll have a final leg 5. And for me, that'll be the start of the wave 1. And then we'll get a pullback 2. And then we'll get the impulsive 3. Let me get this all into structure. So something like this is next for circles. So we have a 5-wave move up. What the... This fucking thing. All right, there we go. So we have a 5-wave move up developing on circle off of a major low. So we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forming a major wave 1. Then we'll have a pullback 3-wave move for a wave 2. Then we'll have another 5-wave move for a major wave 3, and then so on and so forth. So that's how I'm playing circle long term. I do think 225 to 260 is next. And then after that, we probably get a correction to, you know, say we see 261, maybe a correction to 156 to 180, somewhere around here at the 0.382 to the 0.5. So we'll have a wave 1, a wave 2 here, and then we'll get a wave 3. If that follows the plan, we would get a wave 3 up to about $500. So I would say 250 is probably next, then 150, then 500. That's how I'm playing circle. So you could position yourself now, even when we dip to 70. I mean, that's like a pretty good multiple. Yo, is this live now? Yeah, this is live. Yeah, we're live. All of this is recorded on YouTube, by the way. So if you want to go back and watch it, everything's recorded on YouTube. What stock or stocks are you buying when SpaceX goes public? I'm going to wait. I'm going to be patient with SpaceX. I do think... Actually, my brother-in-law works at SpaceX. I don't know if he's on the stream, but my brother-in-law works there. And I'm waiting on SpaceX. I'll probably wait for the IPO. You always get volatility around an IPO. So just like Circle IPO'd and then we had a tank. I'll wait. I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to buy it right off the rip. I'll just wait until price action kind of settles, and then I'll make a decision. But I think SpaceX long-term, I think, would be a good position in the overall portfolio. What do you think about CRV in bull run alt season? Let's see. CRV USD. Is it Curve Dow, I think, right? Curve Dow. I do own CVX, so I guess full disclosure, I do own CVX. I don't own any CRV, but I do own CVX. I will say from a fundamental standpoint, I like both of these projects. I think they're doing pretty good. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure CRV has to do something with stablecoins, if I'm correct there. Doesn't CRV have something to do with like the stablecoin yield or something like that? I'm not entirely sure what they do, to be honest. But, I mean, let's see. There's really not a lot of gaps on CRV. Just looking at the fair value gaps here. I mean, on the monthly, is there any? I mean, there's a couple fair value gaps on the monthly here at 30 cents and 50 cents, 30 and 60 cents. So maybe price wants to go there. I do think once we get some impulses off the low, it'll be more clear. Right now, it's too hard to tell, to be honest. Because we're still waiting. We're just waiting for impulses. So until this thing has an impulsive wave off the low, it's really hard to tell what's next. I will say it's probably going to follow Bitcoin, if I'm being honest. Because, again, if Bitcoin corrects the way that I think it's going to correct. We go back to Bitcoin here, for example. Where's the daily? So let me zoom in here. And again, this is how I'm playing it. Like, this is my strategy. I do own Bitcoin, but I'm looking to buy more. And for me, I do have one more leg lower, just again, based on my analysis, based on the combination of Elliott Wave Theory and some other things that I use. But even the weekly moving average, we're rejecting here at the weekly or the daily 200 weighted moving average as well, so that's another confluence for me. But if Bitcoin goes to, say, 82 or 81 or wherever it ends up topping out, somewhere between 81 to 84, and then we drop down to 55, I mean, that's a 32% decline. So again, what's that going to do to altcoins? Are we going to see 20 to 50% declines in altcoins depending on which pair shows relative strength? That's a pretty significant decline. And what does Ethereum look like if that were to happen? Again, I have Ethereum going lower too. So that's also something that I have going lower. So with Ethereum, let's see, am I getting this in? So Ethereum's right here. I do probably see one more leg up. And then, you know, if we correct, say we correct 35%, that puts us at 1,500 on Ethereum. I'm trying to see if there's any gaps on the weekly here. And look where we're at on Ethereum. We're in this weekly gap right now. This gap has already been filled. There's a gap down here that did not get filled at 1,700. So do we go down here and fill this gap? Potentially. On the monthly time frame, we're kind of approaching a monthly gap as well. So there's this monthly gap here. This gap already got filled. I don't think this gap already got filled. This gap already got filled. So all the gaps down here, these ones all got filled. You guys can't see that. All these gaps already got filled. So this gap got filled, this gap got filled, this gap got filled. This one is unfilled on the monthly, and this is a bearish fair value gap. And on the weekly, we also have one here too. So, you know, we're kind of entering this right now. And again, Bitcoin's entering one. So I do think we see some more upside, and then we get the retrace lower. That's what I'm playing on Bitcoin. There is another gap down here on Ethereum on the weekly down here at like 1,700. So this gap right here at 1,700, I could see price wanting to go there, taking out these lows and, you know, having a 5-wave move down towards this gap. And then boom, you know, that to me would be the bottom. And that aligns with the wave count too. That aligns with the wave count. If we look at it from an Elliott Wave perspective, get all these gaps out of the way. We also have this move on Ethereum too. So we have this 1, 2, 3. We're in the 4 and waiting on the 5th. So we still have this. And if we throw on some fibs here, you know, look where some of this zone would be between 1,750 to 1,500. You know, that's a high confluence zone where wave 5s like to go, is between the 1 and the 1.236, which also coincides with, again, this weekly gap down here at 1,700. So if we decide to come down off of these lows to the zone for the wave 5 target plus this gap, I mean, that's a high confluence zone to reverse. So that's how I'm playing Ethereum. I do own Ethereum. I've been in Ethereum since 2022, so I do own it. But combination of the gap with Elliott Wave, I mean, we have a 5-wave move developing, and we should have another 5-wave move to the downside. So that's how I'm playing it. That's my strategy. That's what I'm going for moving forward. Do you tend to avoid actually trading during weekends due to lack of volume, you could say? So again, I'm not really a day trader, so that's not really something I do. I do take swing trades, but they're more like weekly, daily time frame type things. Like Bitcoin setting up for a potential swing trade. I might do something on Ethereum just cause, but for me, I'm just going to trade Bitcoin probably on this move down. But those for me are more like swing trades as opposed to day trades. Sometimes I'm a little bit busy on the weekend to monitor these charts, you know, on an intraday basis. So that's why I like to do more swing trades. Wonder if that will be the bottom. I mean, yeah, I do have Ethereum having one more leg. I have XRP following the same thing. Like, again, when Bitcoin corrects 30%, it's going to bring altcoins down. It's just the nature of it. It's the same thing when SPY or NASDAQ corrects. Like when the S&P corrects or NASDAQ corrects, it does bring other stocks down with it. Again, you have certain stocks which aren't correlated as much with the indices, but for the most part, when the indices go down, you know, Bitcoin also follows suit sometimes. So again, for this wave count and those gaps, that for me is how I'm playing it. How we feeling on bull? We could look at bull. Okay, answered all those. Polygon's still in corrective. I do own Polygon, but it's still in corrective. There's really not a lot of data to go off of, unfortunately. How do you get the gap tool? Oh, it's free too. So if you're looking for that, it's called Fair Value Gap by Lux Algo is the name of it, and its author is Lux Algo. That's the name of it. I wonder if I can share it. Hold on. Can I share it? I don't know how to share it from TradingView, but that's what it's called. It's called Fair Value Gap by Lux Algo. Just type in Fair Value Gap into TradingView, so Fair Value Gap, and you'll see this one by Lux Algo, and that's the one that I use. And then you can toggle it, on and off depending on what you want to see. Thoughts on Tesla? I like Tesla. It's in a wave 5 for me right now, but I like it long term after a correction. Are people waiting or buying F now, sir? I'm waiting, so I'm waiting for another dip. Elliott Wave, yeah, that's the strategy I use. So if you want to combine the two, this is the book that I always recommend. It's a little dusty right here. Elliott Waves Made Simple is the book, and it's by Steve Sinclair. So that's the name of the book, Elliott Waves Made Simple by Steve Sinclair. It is a grand total, folks, of 104 pages. 104 pages. It's $10 on Amazon. This is the technical analysis strategy that I use, but I also use other things in combination with that. So when you see me draw these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves, that's Elliott Wave Theory. That's the technical analysis tool that I use. I have 150 to invest right now. What is the safest stock to trade with and how long? That's a tough question to answer because it depends on your risk tolerance. It depends on a multitude of different factors. I mean, investing in the indices like S&P or QQQ or SPY, you're buying a bucket of assets, not just one. But it really just, again, there's so many factors that go into that it's really hard to answer that question, to be honest. And again, I used to be a financial advisor, so when I had my Series 6 and Series 63 and studying for my Series 7, I could legally provide financial advice, but I don't have that anymore. I used to be an advisor. I just don't do that anymore, and I lost my licenses because I obviously was out of the industry, so I wasn't keeping up with all my continuing education to keep them. So I can't legally provide financial advice, but I can tell you my opinion. Can you look at 1 hour structure? I'm assuming on Bitcoin. What's up, Con? Hello, how are you? I'm good, man. How are you? Where do you predict Ethereum in alt season? Well, after this correction's done, assuming we hit the level, say we hit 1700. Let me redraw all my wave counts here. So, where's the weekly? So this is the first impulse out of a low. So let me mark this. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is our first major wave 1 here, guys. After a low. So if you go back to Ethereum here on this chart, this is the wave 5 back. This is the wave 5 back here, and then we have this A wave, B wave, and then C wave lower. This is the wave 2. On a larger time frame, and then we have this first impulse out the low, and that is our wave 1. So when you get an impulse wave, it happens in 5 waves, which is what we have on Ethereum. So we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is our wave 1. We're in our wave 2 right now, so we're waiting for that final move down. Assuming we see 1700 to fill that gap, and then obviously with Bitcoin correcting and Ethereum in or about to enter its wave 5 lower, that'll complete the wave 2 down here. And if we see 1700 on that drop down, say we get to 1700, maybe come down to 1600, say we come down to 1600, the next zone for me would be between 7,000 and 8,500. Those would be my next levels. Between 7,000 to 8,600, and we will get something that looks like this up to those levels. So we'll get another 5-wave move. If I copy this here to show you what it will look like, bar pattern, something like this off of the low. So we'll get something like this off of the low. Again, it's not going to repeat exactly like this structure here, but essentially what you'll get is you'll get a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. Or let me just draw it like that, actually. That probably looks a little bit better. But you'll get something like this. That looks weird, but something like this. A 5-wave structure that develops like this. And that'll be, again, the wave 3. We'll get a pullback 4, and then we'll get one final push up for the 5. So that's essentially what's next for Ethereum. And my next target on it is around 8,600 to 7,300 would be my next zone. Potential extensions up to 10K if we see the 2.618 guy. Between 1.618 and 2.618 would be my zone. 10K being a potential more than likely 7,300 with a high probability, like moderate probability of 8,600. So somewhere between 7,000 to 10,000 is my next zone for Ethereum. Let's see. Can you do XRP? Yeah, we could jump to XRP, Austin. Do you see ETH at 1,700 again soon? I will say I do see 1,700 again on Ethereum soon. Tough question to answer. We'll wait for price action to develop, but yes, I do see 1,700. If you lost your license, study and get it. What was that? If you lost your license, study and get it back, did you mishandle clients' funds? I did not mishandle clients' funds. I moved, so I did financial advising for about 3 years. And then after I went away, I moved into software sales and I just wasn't practicing advising anymore. So if you don't continue education, meaning if you don't go back, you have to do like these, are they called CLEs? Yeah, CLEs. It's continuing, or it's, I can't remember what the acronym is, but it's essentially continuing education. So you have to do classes to keep your license. And if you don't do that after a year's time, it expires and you got to go and take the test again. So when I moved out of the financial advising space to pursue a career in software sales, I just lost the license just due to time. So no, I did not mishandle clients' funds. So a low hasn't been formed. No, Ethereum still got one more leg down. One more leg down. If ETH can 8x from bottom, XRP will only 8x to $8. I'll jump to XRP in a second. Can you look at 1 hour structure, please? On which one are you referring to? When could you see those ETH hill levels hitting? Again, time-wise is very hard, guys. Time-wise is very hard. That's one of the hardest things. I don't even know if it's possible, to be honest, like to predict when it's going to happen. That is very hard. Time-wise is something I think a lot of people talk about, but it rarely happens in the desired time frame. I would say move away from time frame and more so risk management. It's buying low and selling high. Buying in high probable zones that, again, depending on your technical analysis style, everyone has a different one. There's Wyckoff, there's Elliott Wave, there's ICT, there's let's see, what other ones? Moving average strategies, MACD, RSI, like there's all these things, right? For me, I use Elliott Wave. That is my technical analysis style, and then I combine it with other things for further confluence. But time-wise is very hard. I mean, I would say probably within like 1 to 3 years, that would be what I'd be looking for. But until structure develops, it's hard to tell. Once we get the that then we start seeing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off of the lows. Then it'll become more clear. But as of now, it's very hard to say that. 79,000. I mean, yeah, my next zone on Bitcoin's like 81, and then I'd look to take a short. So which is better buy after next correction, Bitcoin or ETH? I say both. Both are great buys. I don't have a preference. I mean, Ethereum, because it's a smaller market cap, it probably has a higher potential for return. But I think owning Bitcoin in your portfolio is something that I think you should do. In my opinion, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum should play a key role in anyone's portfolio. But it depends on your preference. See, will you see a double bottom structure at 800? I don't see Ethereum to 800. I don't see that low. If it did go that low, then it would invalidate this wave 1. So this is our wave 1 here. our first impulse out of a major low. So we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If price was to come below this low, then that would invalidate that structure. So this whole structure would be invalidated. And then what we'd be waiting for is our impulse out of that low to label our wave 1, then an ABC for our wave 2. So that's what essentially would be next on Ethereum if we were to invalidate that. I don't know if we do. To be honest, with that fair value gap there on the weekly being at 1700, we could see a confluence there. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Riv on Sol, small gem, low market cap, at 12 my left by initial. Sorry, got to go, but this week is going to be wild crypto bucko, guys. I'm longing Bitcoin to 86, then see from there. What's up, Scottish Crypto? How's it going? Ma wave count, LMAO. What's up, Mikey? Solana. Or no, we were going to do XRP first. XRP. Again, I know certain people have different levels of, what's the word I look for? I think certain people have a love-hate relationship with Elliott Wave because I feel as though a lot of people force wave counts. And I think that's where a lot of the maybe distaste comes from, because Elliott Wave Theory is very powerful. Like, if you know how to use it, it's very good. But I think a lot of people force wave counts and they force price action to fit their bias, which creates a situation where it forms maybe a bias to them, and then you look at someone else and you're like, well, that wave count's different. I mean, obviously the tool is as good as the person that's using it. That's like anything in life. You know, a basketball in the hands of me versus Michael Jordan is way different. Like, yeah, I could be good at basketball, but I'm not Jordan. Or, you know, Elliott Wave Theory in some random person that doesn't know Elliott Wave Theory versus, you know, an experienced Elliott Wave Theory person, it's going to be very different, right? So it comes with time, it comes with practice. You know, it's not perfect, but no strategy is perfect. You're just dealing with probabilities in the market, and you're trying to identify zones of high confluence of where I want to buy and where I want to sell. You know, that's essentially what you're doing with any technical analysis. It's, okay, where do I buy and sell? Where are my high confluence zones? What are my risk management? You know, how much am I willing to lose, but I'm willing to reward? Again, you got to factor all these things in there with investing, because there's a lot that goes into it. You know, you can't really treat it like gambling. And I think a lot of people treat investing like gambling, and that's why they lose. So let's dive into XRP. So XRP, back in 2018, we had our first impulsive wave on the weekly. I'll jump to the weekly so we can see it. We have our first impulsive wave with XRP back in 2017 to 2018. We have this first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up, which is our major wave 1 here in red. So we have our major wave 1. Let me erase this. So we have our major wave 1 here. That's our major wave 1. And then if we look at the next structure here for XRP, we have this huge ABC corrective movement. So we have an A wave down, a B wave up, and this C wave for our major wave 2 here. And then now we are in our wave 3. So we're waiting for the wave 3 to develop. It has not developed in totality. I think that's the right word I'm looking for. It hasn't developed in total yet. So the only thing that we have with XRP is this initial sub wave 1 of 3. So we have the first impulse out of our major wave low here for wave 2. We have this big impulsive wave with an ABC. So now we have our sub wave 1, our sub wave 2, and then we're waiting for our sub wave 3 next, which for me is between $5 to $8 based on the structure. Then we'll see a corrective 4 and then a final leg 5 up here for the completion of the major wave 3. Again, you can get extensions, but base case right now is between $5 to $8, which presents a pretty good risk reward on XRP. Currently right now, maybe a 4 to 500% gain. I do see more lows on XRP. We can see here, combining our Elliott Wave strategy with some fair value gaps, we can see there is this massive gap here on the weekly between $1 to 61 cents, which is a massive gap. With my Bitcoin thesis, I am also seeing XRP go lower. Again, we'll probably sweep these lows here that were created back in February. And if that happens, the high confluence zone again would be between $1 and 60 cents. I don't know if we see 60 cents. We'll probably see maybe cut it in half. Maybe we cut it in 3/4. But anywhere between 80 cents to $1 would be my next zone on XRP, making that lower move down. If we were to do that from current prices, maybe we pump up a little bit more. You know, say we see, if we come down all the way down to 80 cents, that's a 46% drop. If we come here at the top at $1, that's a 31% drop. That coincides with my Bitcoin thesis correcting from 84 to 60 to 50K. So that would be my next zone. And we haven't filled this gap yet. This weekly gap is still unfilled. Let's see if we have anything on the monthly. We're currently in a monthly gap right now. So we formed this massive monthly gap on the wave 1, which we're currently in. You can see it here. I can erase some of this stuff. So you can see this massive gap that was formed on the monthly time frame. We are currently still in it. So you have this huge gap right here with this monthly candle. And that's our monthly gap. And we're currently in it right now. We're about 50% in. You know, again, I do have us having one more leg lower to the $1 to 80 cent range. And then for me, that would mark a fulfilled weekly gap. And then also on Elliott Wave perspective, we are in wave C. So if you look at this on a wave C perspective, that is where we're at. We have a similar, to some extent, structure to Ethereum and Bitcoin. We have this wave 1, 2, this drop 3, wave 4, and then wave 5, which again, my targets on it are between, lo and behold, look where Elliott Wave Theory extension comes for this wave 5 lower. It comes between $1 to 1.618, which is a wave 3 target. 1.236 being at $1, 1.618 being at 87 cents. If we combine that together with our fair value gap here, we have a level that provides a high confluence range of $1 to 87 cents, which is inside of this gap here on the weekly. And that's also our wave 5 target between the 1.236 and the 1.618, which would complete our wave 5 of C of a wave 2. So that would be my next zone on XRP. And then after that, if I move this here for a second, after that, if we come down to say 90 cents, $5 to $8 would be the next zone. So that would be what I'd be looking for on XRP, is one more leg lower into this gap to fulfill the wave 5, and then boom, you know, off to the races to the upside, with a $5 to $8 target being the next zone. What if there's no wave 5? If there's no wave 5, that means you're in a corrective wave. So in order for there to be fulfilling impulsive waves, you need 5 waves. If there's no 5 waves, it's more than likely you're in a corrective wave and you're in a correction zone, not an impulse. So with an impulse, you get 5 waves. With a correction, you get this. Sorry, I drew that wrong. My fault. You get a correction like that. So you get an A wave, B wave, and a C wave. With an impulse, you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move. It occurs across all time frames. You can see it on monthly, weekly, daily, whatever time frame you're looking at. 15-minute, it's on every time frame. So you can go to any time frame you want. That's, again, why I love Elliott Wave Theory so much, because it's fractal and you can use it on any time frame, which is super nice. What do we got? Okay, what if they pass the Clarity Act? What happens to waves? It doesn't necessarily have any effect on the wave count. Like, you know, news can play a role for sure. Absolutely, 100%. News can play a role in how price will react, right? Like we see it all the time, especially with, you know, kind of the flip-flopping back and forth with this whole Iran-US, you know, war that's going on. Like there'll be a tweet saying the ceasefire has ended, markets will pump. A tweet that says the ceasefire has not ended, markets will dump. So obviously news plays a role. I'm not saying it doesn't. But oftentimes what I find is the technicals and the chart actually front runs a lot of the news. And I noticed it on Bitcoin specifically. back in December, January. And if we look at this structure on, or let me just delete everything on the chart right now. So on Bitcoin, back in December, January, let me label everything out so you can see what I'm looking at. So we have the wave 1, the wave 2, the wave 3, the wave 4, and then we're waiting for the 5. So in this zone right here, let me make sure everything's in. So when I was evaluating Bitcoin back in December and January, this is the structure that we had. We had this first impulsive wave down for the wave 1, a pullback 2, a drop 3, and then this pullback 4. And I remember during that period of time, I was saying, hey, we still are due for more downside, just again, due to the structure, because we're only in a wave 4. And remember, in impulsive waves, you need a wave 5. So what I was thinking during this period of time is we've had a 1, 2, a 3 here, and then we're in this 4. I'm expecting a dump. And I remember during that period of time, everyone was thinking we're bullish. We're going back to, 150K. We're going to new all-time highs. Like everyone was thinking we're going to go up. And obviously price was rising during that period of time. And we went from 84K to damn near 100. So we had a nice price increase during that period of time. And everyone was saying new all-time highs. We're going, going. And I remember structurally one more. And again, you can go verify these videos. Go back to December. On my page, I don't delete anything. Whatever's there is there. But I was talking about another wave down, aka this large wave 5 that we're still in. And lo and behold, what happened? Again, news. So for me, technicals were leading that news. We had the government shutdown and we had the Epstein files during this entire move. So what that drove is a very impulsive price action. And again, that's what happens in impulsive waves. Price action moves very fast. And what happened was we had this big drop 1. Let me label it. So what we had out of this wave 4, up here again, this wave 4, what we had out of there was this drop, which was pretty fast. This drop 1, wave 2, and then that's when all the Epstein file stuff came out and fueled this really extended wave 3. And then we're still in a wave 4 and then expecting a wave 5. And when I say wave 4 and wave 5, they're subwaves. So the way that Elliott Wave Theory works is you have a larger trend and then you have a micro trend. So when I talk about these waves, there's the larger trend. So if I zoom out here, so I don't want to get you guys confused because it can be kind of confusing when you hear wave 5 and wave 5. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Excuse my language. But if I zoom out here, these white labels right here, that's the larger trend. So that's moving on a larger time basis. So this entire move right here, that's the larger trend. So this 1, this 2, this 4 here, this 3, and then this white 5 down here. Let me just change what they look like so it doesn't differ, so you guys don't get confused. I'm going to call this the primary. So right here, the ones that I circled, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5. That is the larger trend. Now on the shorter time frame, again, this is more micro, you also get a 5-wave move on the micro to complete the larger structure. And this is what this is, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5. So that is what's labeled in the yellow. So far on the micro time frame, we're in wave 4, but on the macro time frame, we are in the wave 5. So I don't want you guys to get that confused because I understand it can be confusing. But we have a 4-wave move developing of the larger wave 5 trend. And then what we're expecting, or at least what I'm expecting, is one more dump lower to complete the micro 5 of the larger trend 5. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know in the comments. But if that does make sense, you can put a thumbs up or whatever you want to put in the, like, yes, whatever. But that's how that's like structurally what it looks like. A lot of news this week, Fed decisions and big tech earnings data and more. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Thanks for your input. Yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely correct. Yeah, I mean, technicals usually lead news. Okay, tracking, perfect sense, awesome. What do you think in Bitcoin right now, sir? More downside. That's what I'm on right now, and it's just due to the structure. It has nothing to do with my opinion. Like, I'm not out here trying to bear post and be like, oh my god, like Bitcoin's going to 20K. Like, again, that's not my what's the word I'm looking for? That's not my goal. Like, it's not what I'm doing. It's just structurally we have more downside. I want to know if you are ever wrong. I'll let my work speak for itself, man. I go live every day. Well, Sunday through Thursday, and then I have date night with my wife on Friday, and then Saturday is usually for myself. But I go live every Sunday through Thursday. Everything's documented on my page. Like, I got nothing to hide. You can go view all of my stuff since December. But again, for those of you that have been around these lives for a while, I'm very transparent. I tell it how it is. I don't really, I don't do any marketing hype. I'm not one of those marketing gurus that takes fucking promos from every fucking coin out there. That's not me. I get probably, because I have my email in my bio now, I get probably 3 to 4 like paid promotional opportunities every week. I decline them all because I'm not doing promos for fucking shit coins. Like, I'm not doing that. There's like all these exchanges in my email, all these like coins, like, hey, here's a promo code, like, do our crypto project, pump it to your community. Like, I'm not interested in that. That's stupid. That's me just chasing money. I'm not about that lifestyle. So I decline a lot of those promotionals. And if you're interested in doing a promo with me, it better benefit my community or I'm not doing it. Which coin could go 5x in alt season? I mean, honestly, Ethereum and XRP can both 5x, in my opinion. Is it gold? This is Bitcoin. It's right. I hope you are right. I will buy the dip. Oh, I'm buying the dip. I'm setting cash on the sideline. The bag man. Bitcoin dip. Yeah, I still see some more momentum to the upside. You're a cool guy, bro. I appreciate that. I don't sell out for money, man. I'm not one of them crypto gurus that constantly promote shit coins. Like, that's just not me. It's not my personality. It's not my moral judgment. I'm a man of faith. I'm a man of God. I'm not interested in that bullshit. Couldn't give a fuck about crypto trading, but love what you said. Hey, man, it's not for everyone. I get it. Like, I am into stocks too. I do talk about stocks. Like, I also invest in stocks myself. But yeah, I get it. Crypto's not for everyone. That's totally fine. Do you think ADA will go to $1 anytime soon? Yeah, we can look at Cardano. I'm good with that. Yellowstone, he's a great guy. Yellowstone's been here since my stomach journey, so shout out to you, man. Because you've seen my TikTok page completely change for the past, year and a half, 2 years. I started talking about stomach stuff and my stomach journey and how I healed IBS and how I healed my gastritis, food intolerances. Like, I used to be lactose intolerant, now I'm not. Those are like all my old videos. That was from over a year ago, but Yellowstone was there when I was doing that, and then I flipped over to more finance crypto because it's just my passion. I was trying to find my lane in social media and eventually landed on what I'm passionate about, which is investing and helping others. Can you look at Bitcoin on the hour structure? Yeah, I mean, I can go to it. What are you looking to see off the hour structure? I'm not sure what you're looking to see. I don't really go down to the hour structure. I mean, again, my zone is 81 to 84. That's where I'm looking to take that's where I'm looking to take a swing short. Right now, we're kind of just in like no man's land right now. You cool, bro. I'm gonna watch you ice turn today. Well, I appreciate that, AJ. We do go live Sunday to Thursday. I know sometimes I can go off on a tangent and go off on a rant, so I appreciate the patience with that. But I do appreciate the support if you decide to show up, because it's fun. I get a lot of enjoyment out of this. Can you look at Bitcoin on hours? I don't really look at Bitcoin in the hour structure, to be honest. I mean, the next zone for me is that 81 to 84. So up here between 81 to 84, that's my swing short zone. Drop to follow, we'll check it out and maybe learn a thing or two. Absolutely. No problem, man. No problem. No problem at all. Yeah, but if you go back like really far back on my page, you'll see me talking about my stomach journey and how I healed my IBS and gastritis, and I had multiple food intolerances and all this stuff. And I went on TikTok live for a while and was helping other individuals with stomach issues. I didn't obviously have everything, but I did my best. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not, again, it's just myself. I healed myself from it just by changing my habits and changing my diet. And, was trying to help others. Do you have own community group? Yeah, so I have a Discord. If you're interested in that, the link is in my bio. I have like one of those Linktree accounts, so it has all my socials in there. I also do long form YouTube content. My next YouTube video will be dropping tomorrow. My first one was just explaining Elliott Wave Theory, but I'll be doing another YouTube video tomorrow. So if you're interested in like longer form content, I also do that on my YouTube. I'm getting started. A lot of the stuff till now has just been short form content, but I want to get into the long form YouTube stuff. So if you're interested in that, the link in my bio has all my socials and the Discord community. What is the structure looking like? I still have more upside on Bitcoin before downside. I think Hood and SoFi are taking off with earnings this week. Yeah, Hood's looking pretty good. Sparsh is in here, so he knows. I was saying Hood to $63 ever since the beginning of February. We popped off to 63 to 90, so I just want to put that out there because I was talking about $63 on Hood for a while. You did a great job, thanks. I appreciate that, Yellowstone. I try my best, man. I'm not a doctor, obviously. I don't know everything, so a lot of the questions I was getting were very hard for me to answer because I didn't obviously go to medical school, but a lot of the stuff that I did was diet change, lifestyle change, all that good stuff, and it eventually just healed on its own. I will 100% recommend collagen powder. If you guys aren't taking collagen powder, I would recommend collagen powder to anyone. This stuff is a lifesaver. Every time my stomach's upset, I drink that shit. My stomach feels completely better. Apparently, it helps rebuild the gut lining. So if you're dealing with stomach stuff, again, this is off topic. Collagen powder, you can buy a big tub of it from Costco. It's great stuff. Put it in a smoothie. You won't taste it. Put it in your coffee. Whatever you want to do with it. Put it in water. I don't really care. But yes, collagen powder saved my life, honestly. What do you think about Sol? We can do Sol. All right, Sol USD. Yeah, bro, diet and healthy lifestyle is the key. 100%. 100%. If you don't have a healthy body, you don't have a healthy mind. If you don't have a healthy mind, then, you kind of got to deal with that. You kind of got to deal with it. Unfortunately, the body is just as important as the mind. Take care of your body, you'll take care of your mind. Do I live in the USA? Whenever I trade, it says not available in my region or try to... I do live in the USA. Yes, I do. Did you already do Bitcoin? Can you go through it quickly? Yeah, we're going to do Solana first, and then we can go back to Bitcoin. We can do Solana, then Bitcoin, and then PSKY. Yeah, we can do PS. I don't know what PSKY is, but we can do that. Did you already... how long do you think it would take for me to learn Elliott Wave Theory when I researched? It depends. So Elliott Wave Theory is not like super technical in the sense that it's like a super technical strategy where you have to learn everything. Like it's fairly pretty simple in terms of like what you're looking for, but if you're not used to it, it can also be pretty complex. So I would say it could take some time. I mean, I was familiar with it for a good amount of time prior to the book. I would say read the book first. Elliott Waves Made Simple by Steve Sinclair. It's $10 on Amazon. Again, investing in yourself and investing in your financial future. For me, $10 on Amazon makes a hell of a lot of sense. I'd rather spend $10 on this book than spend $10 on a Chipotle bowl. I'm gonna be honest. I'd rather spend $10 on that than a Chipotle bowl. Oh, ADA, yes. All right, let's do Solana, then Cardano, and then we'll go back to Bitcoin. Yes, I forgot about Cardano. But the book's only 100 pages, so you could read it, again, you could read it in a day, 2 days, 3 days. You could take your time with it, but after a couple weeks, I do think there's people in here that I recommended the book to, and they could probably tell you better than I would, but they bought the book and they said they've learned a lot just by looking at it, and it really helps you understand the way that the market moves. So like this example on Solana right here, it's a little bit simpler on Solana, but you can already see this wave, right? You can see this up for a wave 1, down for a wave 2, up here for a wave 3, down for a wave 4, and then up here for a wave 5. Like Solana, that's an easy one. You get a 5-wave move here on Solana. On the weekly, it's pretty easy. You see this bottom here for a 4, bottom here for a 2, and then you just put the pieces together, and then boom, you get a 5-wave move. So it can be very easy. It can also be very complex, depending on how you use it. How do I get the book? Amazon. How do you share your screen on TikTok Live? What do you mean? I'm not sure. I am broadcasting in both horizontal and vertical. So if you can't see the full screen, just click the button in the side and you'll be able to see my full screen. There should be like a button in the bottom right corner that'll flip it. That'll flip it horizontally. Okay. What's up, man? What's up, Manny? All right, so we got a 5-wave move on Solana. How much money do you make from one account? I'm not sure what you mean. Not sure what you mean. All right, so we have this 5-wave move, and then we have this correction here. So this is our wave 2, this is our wave 1. So we have this 5-wave move for a wave 1, correction down for a wave 2, and then we have this next 1, 2, 3 here, 4 here, and then 5 here. So we have another 5-wave move, but there's also these rules too. So after a 5-wave move, if you get a retrace into the territory of wave 1, it cannot be a wave 4. So this is another wave 1, and this is another wave 2. We're waiting for a 3, 4, 5 to complete the major wave 3. So where's that? This is essentially what's next for Solana. You get the 3, 4, and the 5 to complete this major wave 3. So let's go ahead and remove all those drawings. Let's go into the current price action of Solana. First, let's go to the weekly. So we can label out this as our A wave down, B wave here, and we're currently in the C wave. So we have a 3-wave move, which is our correction. We have this A, B, and then C forming after a 5-wave move. And if we throw on... Let's throw on the fair value gap. Let's see what we got. So we've already filled all the bullish fair value gaps here. Like, notice that you guys can see that. We've already filled all these bullish fair value gaps in this zone. The next unfilled one, did this get filled? I mean, that's pretty fucking close, but it doesn't look like it got filled. So the next fair value gap is down here at $50. That's the next fair value gap there at $50. Monthly, we are in a monthly one right now. The next monthly one is actually at 58, is the next top. You guys can't see that, sorry. The next monthly fair value gap, we have one at 58 to 37. So we have another one down here. Now let's use this in combination with Elliott Wave Theory and put 2 and 2 together. So again, we have a very similar structure on Solana, like we do on XRP, like we do on Bitcoin, like we do on Ethereum. We have this drop 1, wave 2, drop 3. We're currently in the 4, and then we're waiting for a drop 5. Where's the settings? I don't like it. Like, yeah, let's go sub-minute. So we're currently in the 4, waiting for the 5th. So we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then waiting for a 5th. The zone on that is between $61 to $50. So there's our one zone. If we go to the weekly, that 1.618 lines up with this weekly fair value gap down here at $50. So if price was to get pretty impulsive to the downside, $70 to $50 could be a potential zone here at the top of this weekly fair value gap, which coincides with the 1.618. And if we go to the monthly, there's also a monthly fair value gap at 58 right here at 58 to 38. Not saying we go all the way down to 38, but the top of this fair value gap is at 58 on the monthly, which also coincides with our zone here on this wave 5, which is between the 1 and the 1.618. And lo and behold, the 1.236 to the 1.618 lives in this fair value gap right here. So the high probability zone that price wants to come down to is between $60 to $50. Fill this gap, and then we'll start the impulses to the upside. That to me looks like what's next, especially because we have this huge monthly gap down here, and then we also have a weekly gap at 50. So that would be how Solana would be looking. If we look at the daily time frame on Solana, you know, what type of retrace would that be from current levels? You know, again, if we cut the middle between the 1.236, say we come down to 56 and fill, you know, 55 and fill that monthly gap, that's a 36% retrace. If we coincide that with Bitcoin, again, my zone is, what was my zone again? 60-50K, sorry. That was where the monthly gap is down here at 59. So 60 to 50K, there's also a monthly gap here on Bitcoin, but there's also this weekly gap here that we're filling to the upside, but my zone is 60 to 50K. If we retrace from this gap down to 60 to 50K, say we go down to 55, 30% drop is expected on Bitcoin. So again, if we use that logic, altcoins probably correct even further. So if we correct 30% on Bitcoin, if we correct 36, maybe even 40 on Solana, that would put us at the 1.618 if we corrected 40%. So let me draw it again. So from current levels, if we correct down to the 1.618 here, that would be a 42% drop. That would fill a weekly gap. And then that would also fill this monthly gap. So to me, that looks like a high confluence zone for where price wants to go. If we throw the moving average on here on the daily, we are also under the 200 moving average here on Solana. You can see we're also under the 200 moving average. We got rejected back here in the wave 2, and we're getting rejected potentially at the wave 4. But that would be my high confluence zone, 60 to 50K, and then, or 60 to 50K, 60 to $50. And then the next price target on Solana after that, assuming we hit 53, would be between 500 to 800 for the wave 3. So we would get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse between $500 to $800 at the 1.618 to the 2.618. So that $60 to $50 next, and then 500 to 800 after that. That would be my zones. How do I? Oh shit! All these charts. Like, how do you go live with your chart on your screen? Oh, so I'm on my computer, so if you download TikTok Live, I'm assuming you're asking like how to go live on your PC. So if you go live from TikTok Live Studio on your PC, this is just for anyone that wants to go live on TikTok. But you can go live on your phone, and you can, you know, share your phone and just share your computer screen. Or you can download the TikTok Live Studio app on your PC, and then you can go live from your PC. I can't remember when I got access to that because it's been fairly recent. Like, you have to hit a certain amount of threshold for if you can go live on TikTok from your PC. I think it's like 1,000 followers or something like that. And then you can have access to the live streaming from PC. But then once you go into the app, then you add sources and you add your webcam and then trading view, and then just, you know, kind of just share your screen, so to speak. $500 to $800 is my next zone for Solana. Do you do this for a living? No, I don't. I mean, I still have another job too. I do that, but I also do this as sort of like a side thing because I love it. I mean, I think even if I had the ability to, like, even if I wanted to do this full time, I'd probably still keep a job just to have extra money coming in, because I can kind of do both for right now. If it gets to the extent where I can't do my regular job and I can, you know, just want to do this full time, you know, we'll cross that bridge when it happens. But no, I don't do this full time. Plus I get cheap benefits at work, so I might as well take advantage of that. If Solana ripped, how can Bitcoin drop? I mean, again, I still have Solana going down more, so Sell in May, walk away. What's up, Jay? That is another narrative that also coincides with the end of April. The sell in May, go away will potentially provide, and earnings coming up and a lot of other economic data coming out. And then the new Fed chair coming in soon. And then we'll see what Powell does this week with interest rates. Oh no, I got to go to Cardano next. I got to go to Cardano next. Because someone had asked about Cardano, so let me go Cardano. Let me remove all this. I think this was from the last time we did Cardano. So Cardano has an impulsive wave. If we look at the monthly here. So, or no, we have to go to the weekly, sorry. So we have this 1, 2, 3, this big ass fucking drop 4, and then this final like 5. I don't know why that's showing on this chart. Maybe the Cardano doesn't have that on every other chart, but for whatever reason it's showing here. Either way, it's either here or somewhere up here. There's a 5-way move on Cardano, and you can see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I don't know why this liquidation candle's all the way down here. I don't know if that's the same on every chart, but nonetheless, and then you have this fifth leg up. So we have a 5-way move on Cardano, and we're currently in the wave 2. So we're currently in the wave 2, this being the major wave 1. We're currently in the major wave 2. So we're waiting for the major wave 3 to start, and that looks like this. We'll get a 5-way move up. That's the next zone or next play for Cardano. And we'll get a 5-way move to the upside for the major wave 3. Now, the next target on that is between $5 to $8. Between $5 to $8 is my next target. Actually, let me remove that so you can see it a little bit more clear. So here. Between $5 and $8 is my next target on Cardano. And if we look at the monthly, let's see if there's any gaps on the monthly. I mean, the next gap is all the way down here at 12 cents. I don't think we go that low. I mean, we technically could. I mean, there's a monthly gap at 12 cents that hasn't been filled. And if Bitcoin corrects 30% and Cardano corrects 50, I mean, that would put us at 12 cents. So it is possible to fill these gaps down here. I mean, this one actually I think got filled already. So this would be the next logical gap down here between 12 cents and 11 cents. So 12 to 11 cents would be the next monthly gap. Weekly, the next gap is at, 12 cents. The next gap on the weeklies here, because these ones have already gotten filled. So 12 cents would be the next potential. Let's go to the daily and see what this looks like. So let's see here. We have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and then wave 5. That huge liquidation candle is insane. But I do have more downside on Cardano. If we get, I wonder what this fib will show. 16 cents. I mean, that fib is showing 16 cents if we go down and look at where the extension is on the 2, 12 cents. Which is where that weekly and monthly gap is. So I wouldn't be surprised if Cardano corrects more from here. You know, do we see 12 cents? Maybe. But it definitely looks like we could have some more downside. This being... this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 3, wave 4, and then we should get one more dump lower. So I mean, really we may not fill the gap, but between like 19 to 16 cents would be a zone I'd pay attention to with the potential of 12 cents. Now that I'm curious if, let me clear all this chart out. Let me go to the monthly. I also want to see where this fib is because this would be the wave 2. All right, we're well under that fib, so that wouldn't really coincide with anything. So that doesn't really provide us any relevance. But yeah, I mean, that next gap is down here at 12 cents. So price may go to 12 cents. And if Bitcoin corrects 30, Cardano could correct 50. And that would put us at that gap, which also coincides with the 2 extension on the wave 4. So be prepared for more downside on Cardano before more upside. Dear Nick, are we going to finish the wave 4? Oh shit. Are we going to finish the wave 4? There is more liquidity downward as we speak. Greeting. Still in wave 4, just waiting for the wave 5 to drop. Sol at 60. Yeah, we just covered Sol. So yeah, 60. I think it was $60 to $50 was the next zone. We already did injective Bitcoin before weekly close. I mean, again, I'm not worried about Bitcoin right now. When do you think it will hit $5? I don't chart based on time. I don't really know anyone else that does. Good night, Nick. Good night, Yellowstone. All right, SPY. Can we take a look at Hood lower time frame? Yeah, we can look at Hood. So we did Cardano. All right, we're going to end because it's already 8 o'clock and usually I go to about 8. Let's do HBAR and then let's do SPY. No Hood, no changes, man. We're in a week. We popped off a weekly gap in the 618. The next target for Hood for me is 300. Let's do HBAR and then let's go into what was the verdict on Addit? It's been on my list for a bit. Well, while we're still on it, so I don't know if you want to hear this news or not hear this news, but so we have a few combining confluences here for Cardano. We have a unfilled fair value gap on the monthly at $12. We are currently in a wave 4. So if I put, this is the unfilled gap here, this red line. That's the unfilled gap. We also have a, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 developing. Now with the wave 5, let me preface this way. Let me move this actually out of the way so then you can see this. So the next target for a wave 5 is between the 1 and the 1.618 with a potential extension to the 2. Now, when this wave 5 happens to the downside, those are the targets between like 22 cents to 12 cents, high probability between 20 to 16 cents with a potential extension down to 2. So when this wave 5 happens, you will also get a 5-way move down. Now, not only do we have a level down here at the 2, which coincides with a monthly fair value gap, this could be a high probability zone that price wants to go to fill the gap, but also fulfill a wave 5 target at the 2 extension. Not saying it goes there, but it is a high likelihood zone. Really anywhere on this next drop between 19 cents to 12 cents for me would be good dollar cost averages for Cardano. And then after that, $5 to $8 approximately would be next. That's how I would play it. So that's Cardano. Let's do HBAR. Let's see what HBAR's got. Let's move the gaps. Let's go to the monthly. I think I already did HBAR. When did we must have did HBAR last stream? I can't remember, but we are currently in a sub wave 2. So we have this major wave 1 here. And then we have this major wave 2. So this wave 2. Then we have this impulsive 1 with this ABC2. We're waiting for the 3, 4, and the 5 to complete this major wave 3 up here. So this is essentially what's next for HBAR. You get a wave 3, wave 4, and then a wave 5 to complete the major wave 3. Now, with HBAR, my next targets are around 65 cents to $1 for the sub wave 3. which is what we're waiting for right now. We're waiting for this subwave 3 to develop, which is going to be this next push up for this subwave 3. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. I had to sneeze real quick. But 65 cents to a dollar is my next target. Now on the monthly, let's see if we are in a monthly fair value gap right now. We are currently in a monthly. On the weekly, we are currently in a weekly right now. So we're at the top end of this weekly gap here. There's also a weekly gap at 5 cents if we see that low. So given that we're already in a weekly, could we see 5 cents? Maybe. How much of a percent decline would that be if we were to see 5 cents? 40%? I mean, that's possible. The reason it's possible is because if Bitcoin corrects 30%, typically altcoins correct more, which would potentially put this at a 40% correction, which is right around 5 cents, which is where that weekly gap is. So if we put that back on, let's go to where that gap starts, and we'll put a line there. So we'll put a line at the top of that gap. So if we go back to the daily, that's where that gap is, that red line right there. And if we go down to that gap, it's a 41% decline. So if Bitcoin declines that much, if we see a 41%, that would be a pretty big hit to H-bar, but the structure would still hold. I mean, it wouldn't be great. We wouldn't want to see that, but I do own a lot of H-bar personally. I bought a lot I think my average cost is like 4 cents, I want to say. I bought a lot here in like August of 2023 down here in this zone. So I want to say I'm in around 4 cents. So I'm still positive. I'm maybe double whatever on my profit right now, but 65 cents to a dollar is next. Actually, let me move this down because if we see this gap here, yeah, 65 cents to a dollar is still my next target. Now on the daily, let me move the gaps out here. We still are under the 200 moving average. It kind of looks like Cardano. Remember Cardano's chart that we just looked at? We had this big, wick candle down, and then it almost looks like we have this. Let me see. Hold on. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that could make sense. The structure is not as clean on this move down, because that already goes into that territory, so that can't count. But yeah, somewhere around there. I mean, I do have our H-bar correcting with Bitcoin. Similar to XRP, I do think we drop a little bit lower. Do we see 5 cents? Maybe, but I would say at this low here, if we come down and pierce this low, I think that is like the trigger to dollar cost average. So really anywhere between these levels. So what are those levels? This would be my dollar cost average zone right here. So that's at 7 cents to 5 cents. That would be my dollar cost average zone right here. Between 7 cents and 5 cents would be the zone I'd look to accumulate H-bar. And then the next zone would be 65 cents to a dollar. That would be how I would approach H-bar. Again, I already own some, so I'm not really looking to add at these levels. I'm just going to ride what I currently have. But if I was looking to add more or to get into H-bar, the next zone I'd be looking for would be 7 to 5 cents. Again, piercing this low down here formed in February and then approaching a weekly fair value gap at 5 cents. That would be how I'd approach H-bar. Good stuff. H-bar is another one for anyone just tuning in or don't know this guy. Real deal. I appreciate that, James. But yeah, I like H-bar. I do. Fundamentals look great on H-bar too. And that's another thing I pay attention to when I'm investing in crypto specifically. Stocks is a little bit different because there's like, you can view the financial data. Like there's companies that are reporting earnings. Like you have an insight into the business. With crypto, you don't really have that to some extent. Like, yeah, you have some on-chain data things, but there's less of a transparency with the crypto projects. Like you don't have all of their fees, their revenue, their gross profit. Like you don't have insight in all this stuff. So you have to play a very good risk management strategy with crypto. I would say invest in the majors, invest in the ones that are actually building projects as opposed to just, I mean, again, I'm not a meme coin guy. If you are, I hope this doesn't sound like I'm shitting on meme coins, but again, I think the major play is companies that are actually doing something. Like AVAX has, I think they're partnered with Amazon. They have a bunch of stuff with Amazon. I mean, Chainlink's partnered with Amazon. They're doing a bunch of stuff with, I think they have stuff with the Federal Reserve, with the bond market. H-bar has a partnership with, I want to say BlackRock. Like you're getting these companies that are doing like real world application. They're not just, smoke and mirror projects. And again, you could risk everything and lose it. Again, you got to have proper risk management. Stick with Bitcoin, stick with Ethereum, stick with Solana. That's how I would position myself. And then if you want to throw some speculative money towards other projects, keep it to a small percentage of your portfolio. Because if it goes to zero and you risked 100% of your portfolio, there goes all your money. But if you had 50% in Bitcoin, 20% in Ethereum, 10% in Solana, and then, bits and pieces everywhere, you're a little bit more protected. What are your bottom side targets for VeChain? I like VeChain. I'm already invested in VeChain, so I did buy some VeChain. I'll probably look to dollar cost average in a little bit more, but VeChain, again, I have some more downside. Probably another, 20 to 40% correction on VeChain, to be honest. Especially if H-bar corrects 40, we'd probably get some correction on VeChain as well. But let's see. I think we filled all the gaps. Like we're already almost to this gap here. Yeah, that would be my next zone actually. So the top of this weekly gap, right there, the top of that weekly gap would be at 6 cents. And then and there's also a monthly gap here at 6 cents. So my downside would be about 6 cents on VeChain. And again, it's different for every altcoin too. Like VeChain's had a huge decline in comparison. Like if you look at this, we've had a huge decline in VeChain. After this 5-wave move, we have this ABC, which has declined a lot. But I could see this weekly gap getting filled, which is also coinciding with a monthly gap here. So like 6 cents would be my next potential confluence zone. Given that we're at this monthly gap here and we haven't filled it yet. So this monthly gap between 6 cents to, 6 to 5 cents. Between 5 to 6 cents would be my next zone. I like Injective as well. All right, let's end with SPY, and then I'm going to go and log off for the night, get some rest before work tomorrow. But let's go ahead and look at SPY. So on the monthly time frame, on SPY, looking at this current structure on the monthly, I mean, on the monthly, I've already identified a 5-wave move. So I had this, where was it? This was the wave 1, the wave 2, the wave 3, the wave 4. And then this was the wave 5 up here. So we already had a 5-wave move on SPY. To me, this looks like an A wave here, a B wave bounce, and then we get a C wave corrective. So something like this. That's what I have next for SPY, because we already have a 5-wave move. We have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have this A, B, C structure developing. To me, this whole bounce looks like a B wave. And if we look at the fair value gaps on the monthly, this fair value gap already got filled. The next gap is down at 614 to 595, which also coincides, if I'm not mistaken, with one of my fib levels here. No, it starts here, yeah. So the monthly gap is also coinciding with the 236. And then we have another gap down here at 572, which is coinciding with the 0.382 fib. And typically off of these retraces, you get a retrace somewhere between the 0.382 to the 0.618. Do we see a 618 retrace? Most likely not. I could see probably a 382, maybe a 236. That would be my next zone. On this wave A down on the weekly, I'll zoom in here for a second. We also have these weekly gaps here that haven't been filled, even just on the shorter time frame. We have this weekly gap up here that hasn't been filled, weekly gap here that hasn't been filled, and then we also have this weekly gap here, which is also at the 236 fib, and then we also have this fair value gap here, which is sitting at the 382 fib. So there's a couple high confluence zones here for this wave C, which I do see price going to. You know, for me, this is just a B wave bounce, and unless price action does something different, we already have a 5-wave move. So that's why I'm saying this is a B wave, because after a 5-wave move, you get a 3-wave corrective. So we already have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we get an ABC next. We have some gaps down here coinciding with higher time frame gaps and coinciding with a typical 3-wave retrace for SPY anywhere between these levels. The 382 for me is an interesting one. I think that's where price will want to go. Maybe a 0.5, but between 600 to 572 would be a next zone for me. Between 617 to 572 would be my next zone, and that's also where some weekly and monthly gaps lie. The problem with SPY, not problem, but if you look at the daily time frame of SPY, let me clear all these drawings off. If you go to the daily time frame, let me see if I can get all this in. So this is the top of the 5 back here. This right here. This is the top of the 5. And then we have this ABC, which is our A wave. We have this ABCB wave, which is a very choppy B wave, and then we have the C wave down. And then that for me is our major wave A. So I'll circle that. So this is our ABC move down for a major wave A. So you have this A wave, B wave, C wave. This to me looks like a potential A wave. So we have an A wave, a B wave, and then we'll get a C wave for a major B. So let me get that in. So you'll get something like this. And then we'll either get another ABC down, or most likely we'll get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move down. And that will be our major wave C. So it'll look something like this. We'll have a 3-wave move down for an A, a 3-wave move up for a B, and then we'll have a 5-wave move down for a C, or another 3-wave move. Something like that is next for SPY. Yeah, so either a 333 or a 335, something like that. Given that we're already above the starting point of wave A, most likely we'll get a 5-wave move down, kind of like Bitcoin. We had the A wave down, the B wave up, and then we get a 5-wave move down. That's what Bitcoin had. We had a higher B wave and then a 5-wave move. So that to me is what kind of looks next for SPY. Is this 3-wave move down, this 3-wave move up, and then a 5-wave move down. That's what I'm seeing next for SPY. I'll be taking buys from that zone. Yeah, it's going to be a great buying opportunity. It's going to be a phenomenal buying opportunity. Again, buying at tops like this carries a lot of risk. I mean, if you're a long-term investor and you don't really care about your entry, it doesn't really matter. Like, you can buy now and just hold for 20 years and you'll be totally fine. But if you're like, hey, I really care about my entry, you know, I want to get something good, I would just wait. I mean, there's so many other assets that are discounted right now that you can position yourself into. I mean, if you look at this structure right here, you know, that's, oh wait, hold on, I drew it wrong. Sorry, from right there. You know, 572 to 617 is going to provide such a great buying opportunity. And the monthly, I mean, look at how far down the monthly moving average is. It's all the way down here at 380. So, you know, once this thing corrects to 572, the monthly average will catch up, and then we'll resume the uptrend. What's up? What's going on, man? How are you? But it'll provide a very good opportunity. And if you look at those fibs, throw on some fair value gaps, and you know, you got a monthly one that is right there. You got two actually that are right there. You got two monthly fair value gaps in the 236 to the 382 range. I mean, that's a great confluence right there. You got a gap here at the 382 and a gap here at the 236. On the monthly, I mean, that's where price is going to want to go. I mean, you have this gap here, but it's already been filled and then pumped off. So we filled this gap and then ripped off. You know, these next gaps right here are, I do believe, where price wants to go. And given that we have a 5-wave move, the next move down is an ABC. So we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have this A wave, B wave, C wave. Most likely to these gaps. I mean, that's the most likely zone between 600 to 572. This whole zone right here. This whole zone right here. Let me move this fib off and take that off. That zone right here is going to be a huge buying opportunity at this zone. I mean, that's a great long-term investment buying opportunity. Short term, I'm expecting a pullback on SPY. Do you still think Bitcoin will drop? Yeah, I do. I do. We went over Bitcoin again already, but I'll briefly touch on it, and then I'm gonna go and log off. Probably get some. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch a show. I don't know. If y'all got any new show recommendations, I'm open. I'll probably just relax. Maybe watch some show. Maybe watch some TV show. If you guys got anything interesting. Never met an Elliott Wave trader on TikTok. What's up, Legacy Trades? Yeah, I mean, Elliott Wave is my preferred technical analysis style. I also combine some other things into it. One of them being the fair value gaps. I combine these into it just for confluence, and they typically line up with where my wave counts go. Oh, Breaking Bad. I love Breaking Bad. I freaking love Breaking Bad. I'm a huge fan. I might go back and rewatch it. It's such a great show. I kind of like The Boys. I don't know if y'all are into The Boy. I don't know. I feel like it's taken a huge dip off of you know, sort of the earlier seasons, but watch Paradise. What's Paradise about, Zay? What's the plot? What's the show about, I guess? Check out Obliterated. Okay. Running Point on Netflix. Okay. I'm gonna have to look at these. All right, Running Point, Obliterated, and Paradise. Okay. What was that? Check out Obliterated. It's a live action Archer. Oh my gosh, I love that show. I used to watch Archer so much back in college. I mean, we may see some downside on Hood, but 63 was a great zone. Family Manager's basketball team. I like that. That's a good one. Wait, Nick, new weekly close on Bitcoin thoughts. All right. Yeah, let's go into it. So, let me remove everything. So, all right, this is going to be the last chart, and then we'll pick up tomorrow. So let me label everything out. All right, so y'all know the 5-wave move. You know the 5-wave move. We have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, boom. Now we're in the ABC, right? So on the larger time frame, we have this fib retracement. So look at the key zones on here between the 0.5 to the 0.618. That's our first confluence, is the 0.5 to the 0.618 on a major time frame. Fib retracement and wave 2s, this being the wave 1, this being the wave 2. Wave 2s typically retrace to the 0.5 to the 0.618. Look at where that price is. 60 to 50K. There's confluence point number 1. Now, going into the fair value gaps. We have one here, but it's already been filled, so I'm not really paying attention to that one. On the monthly, you know, we have this 60 to 50K gap right here. It's been filled once. You know, we probably will go back into it again, tap it. You know, we'll see. There's another one down here at like 40K. I don't know if we go that low. In my opinion, I don't see us going that low. But if we go to the weekly, you know, there's some other gaps that haven't been filled here as well. There's this one right here at 47. Wait, you guys can't see that. So there's also another gap here at 47 that hasn't been filled. So the top of this gap at 47 to 43, that weekly has not been filled yet. But that could be a high confluence zone. On the current structure, on the daily, let me move this moving average so it doesn't get in our way. So we have that 47K that I labeled out there from the weekly fair value gap. We have this, again, macro versus micro. Remember, guys, macro versus micro. I'm going to label the macro first, then we're going to the micro. So the macro trend is this right here. This 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Again, the white is the macro trend, and then I'm going to make the yellow the micro trend. So we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to label this the micro. I'm going to label it micro. I'm going to change the color to yellow. So remember what we covered before. We have our larger macro trend, which is in white, and we have our micro trend in yellow. We have this 1, 2, 3, 4 waiting for the 5th, and then waiting for the 5th. So we're going to approach the 5th micro of the 5th macro. Hope that makes sense. Now, with the targets of that, if you take the fib retracement tool from the bottom of wave 3 to the top of wave 4, assuming we extend to 81K, which is my next zone at a fair value gap, look at where the zones are. Between the 1 and the 1.618, where is that zone? It's between 60 to 46K. What do we have down here at this red line? Remember, we have a weekly fair value gap down here, which coincides with the 1.618. So if price decides to get an extended 5-way move down to the 1.618, that could be a high confluence level that price wants to go, is fill this weekly gap, but also go down to the 1.618, which is where price typically goes to on the 5th leg, which is sitting at 47K-ish. If we don't go that low, 54K. If we don't go that low, 60. But as price action develops, we'll have some structure. So we'd wait for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for a 5-way move to the downside to determine where this is going to end up, which will complete our micro wave 5 of our macro wave 5. So if we zoom out here, this is essentially what it will look like. We'll have the white macro with the yellow micro, and then we're waiting for a 5-way move to complete the yellow micro of the macro 5. If you look at the fair value gaps on the weekly, again, we are approaching one right now for my swing short trade between 81 to 84 up here at this red bearish fair value gap. And then again, the bullish fair value gaps are down here at 47K, which coincides with the fib retracement, which I will put on here now, between 60 to 47K. So there's a couple different ways that we can approach Bitcoin. On the, again, the monthly, there's really no other fair value gap on the monthly besides down at 37. I don't think price extends down there. We'll probably just refill this gap here. We've already filled it once, but we'll probably refill it again. Again, there's a weekly down here at 47. So that's my next structurally approach to Bitcoin. I see 81 to 84, then 60 to 57, or 60 to 47. Bitcoin top to end typically is around 12 to 13 months, meaning bottom should be in around August, September this year. We have time to pump to 88K, first, in my opinion. Would love 48K on Bitcoin for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what we got. Check obliterated. What about Tau? All right, I'll finish with Tau. You guys keep. I'll finish with Tau. I can't spoil it for you, but it's a great sci-fi. Okay, Paradise. I'll check it out. You think it will touch 48K in a month? Month, hard to tell. I mean, over time, I do think. I mean, there is a fair value gap down there, so it could. I love wave count. I'm following you. I appreciate that, Legacy Trades. This double bottom in daily and weekly, not enough for a bullish continuation sign. Again, it just structurally it supports lower. That again, going into the micro time frame, which I just did. You know, we still have one more leg to complete the structure. And then there's also the fair value gap down there too. So Someone said 5K. Get out of here with that. If we retrace to fib level 0, wouldn't that negate the structure? No. So that's where like the fib 0 starts wherever I put it. So like the fib 0 is the starting point of it. So I'm assuming that Bitcoin pumps to 81, which is my next zone, which would be the starting point. If we pump to 83, then, you know, obviously I'll drag it up to that port. But if we go to 81 to, again, fill this weekly fair value gap here at 81, which is right here. Well, it's technically around 79, but we'll put it at 80. You know, again, that would be the starting point, and then we pump down here. So it would just be depending on where this wave 5 decides to go. But if we go into this weekly gap, say we cut it in the middle at 81, you know, that would be my expected next path. How do you get to skip all the chop and not count those as numbered moves? Leaves a lot to be desired. How do you get to skip all the chop and not count those as numbered moves? So these are all like the chop is correction. That's what the corrective 2 is. Which if we go into the chop itself, it's just a different structure. It's not impulsive, it's corrective. So this would be your A wave, B wave, and then C wave. So that's how you would label it. It's just different. So this is, and again, I have a video on it if you want to go back and look at the whole structure, but this here is an A wave, B wave, C wave, and then this is an ABC. It's just you label them differently. Again, you know, that's something I've covered already. But essentially all it is just a choppy range 4. But that's how you would label it, just an ABC. I've been waiting to buy it lower in prices again. Yeah, 100%. I'm stacking cash right now to buy. I mean, I have positions already. I've been taking spot positions for a while, since 2022. I'm loaded up on crypto-related stuff. I've started to take some positions on stocks that are in their wave 2s. But crypto, I'll just wait till it retraces a little bit more. Bitcoin pump, then dump. Yeah, I mean, I see probably maybe 81, and then we dump. You don't think we'll see a market touch? You don't think we'll see market touch all-time highs before FOMC? 126 before FOMC? No. If that was related to Bitcoin, if it was related to SPY, well, SPY's already at all-time highs. No, there's no shot we go to 126 before next. FOMC's on Wednesday. There's no shot. Bull trap, Ella? Yeah, it could be. Lots of folk have went all in on Bitcoin being bottom already. Surprise coming. Yeah, I mean, again, that's why you gotta have a plan. You gotta stick to structure, man. That's why I talk about it all the time. I think a lot of people have gotten, again, everyone thinks everyone's bearish. I disagree. I think everyone's bullish, and I stay the course. I don't flip-flop. Whatever my strategy suggests, and until there's an invalidated level hit, I don't flip. And I've gotten a lot of disagreeing comments in this move saying, you're just a stubborn dog. You're a stubborn mule. You won't flip. You know, why do you not flip? Can't you see markets pumping? Until an invalidation level hits, you don't flip. You don't just keep flip-flopping just because of price. Like, just because price is doing this doesn't mean I flip bearish and flip bullish. No, you stick to the strategy. And you stick to the strategy and you have patience. That's how you win. Being patient wins in the market. Being reactive and emotional does not win. But yeah, for me, this is just a wave 4. And I disagree. I think a lot of people are bullish. I think majority of the stuff that I'm seeing all over X and Twitter is down here, bearish rather. This move up, everyone's flip bullish. Everyone's bullish. They're all thinking new all-time highs, 200K, everything. What's up, Rippler? I hope you're doing good, brother. Same. I hope you're doing good as well. What are the chances Bitcoin hits 86K and then drops to 40? I mean, my next zone for this weekly fair value gap is between basically 79 to 85. So that's the zone I'm looking at. I don't know if we go through the fair value gap, like and inverse it, meaning we would pump through it and then close above. I don't know if we do that. I think we probably come into it and then reverse. So 80 to 84, 81, well, basically 80 to 84 is a zone I'm looking to short Bitcoin. Most unprofitable chart I have seen today. I don't know we're not day trading, man. We're not day trading. But I don't understand how that could be. We're charting. We're not trading. We're charting and identifying zones, but I appreciate your comment, I guess. Sounds like you are making $500,000 a week like everyone else that comments in here. It's all the bots, man. $500,000 and I made $500,000 this week in meme coins. Yeah, sure you did. Sure you did. How do I join your Discord? I do have a free Discord. If you go to the link in my bio, there's the link. It's a Linktree account in my bio. If you click that, it has all my socials on it. So YouTube, X, Twitch, Kick. I stream on everything. So I stream on TikTok, YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. You know, obviously pick your platform. On TikTok, I stream in both vertical and horizontal. So if you can't see my whole screen, just you can view my whole screen if you flip it. There's like a little box in the corner that shows you my whole screen. But yeah, if you click that link, it has all my socials. You think macro news support Bitcoin's bearish continuation? I think the news hasn't come out yet, but I do think something is on the way that will drive the move, yes. What is the easiest way to learn Elliott Wave? I would say practice, but also this book. This is the book that I use. It's called Elliott Waves Made Simple by Steve Sinclair. Phenomenal book. It's $10 on Amazon. $10. But it's called Elliott Waves Made Simple by Steve Sinclair. There's also a free Drew in the Discord did a free PDF. So if you want the free PDF, it's in the Discord. But it's $10 on Amazon. I like a paperback. So what's up, Freddie? Thanks. Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, the link in my bio is how you join all the socials. And I'm starting to do more long form YouTube content. So if that is something you're interested in and wanting to see more long-term analysis, my second YouTube video will be made tomorrow. So feel free to follow me on YouTube as well. Okay, I think we're going to answer a few more questions. Then I'm going to log off and go check out some of those TV shows that you guys recommended. See, I'll watch the previews first, then I'll decide which one I'm going to watch. Do you see the possibility of that Wave 5 has been completed and we are now into a B wave? Nah. So just because of this structure, so like if you go to the smaller time frame, this move contains 5 waves, this move contains 5 waves, and I'm waiting for a 5-wave move to the downside that'll develop like that. So that to me doesn't look like a B wave. It looks like a wave 4 because we have this A, B, and then this C. And you can see here we have this 3-wave move down, which is a B. We have this complex A, B, C, A. This is the C wave of 4, and then we're waiting for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down of the wave 5. So to me, this is just a corrective 4. Which exchange do you use? It depends. This is TradingView, so this is a free platform. I just use TradingView for charting. But for stocks, I use Thinkorswim, which I think is TD Ameritrade's platform that got bought by Charles Schwab. So Schwab's Thinkorswim platform for stocks, because you can buy stocks for free. There's no fees, so I like that. And then I use both Coinbase and Kraken for crypto. Hey man, was it scary the first time you went? Oh, no, wait. Was it scary the first time you went live? I think I'm going live for the first time tonight. Yeah, I mean, just having your mindset when you go live for the first time that you're probably only going to have maybe 2 viewers. But stick to it. Don't get discouraged. I will say there are people in this live right now that have been with me since January when I first started going live. So 3 or 4 months ago. Across all platforms. So I'm talking YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Kick. Twitch and Kick, I don't even know if I really even get people viewing on there. It's mainly YouTube and TikTok. But when I went live for the first time, and at that point I think I had like 3,000 followers. I'm at 12K now, which it's been great. It's been a blessing. I really love this type of stuff. I'm hoping I'm helping people. But when I went live for the first time, I think I had like 5 viewers. It was like 5 viewers for a week. Then it went to like 8, then it went to 10, and then it went to 20. And then I popped off one day and had like 80. I was like, holy cow, this is awesome. Like, this is a lot of fun. And then it dropped off to about 50. And then now it hovers between 100 to 200, depending on the day. But it can be a little nerve-wracking at the beginning. I'm a pretty like outspoken person. I'm pretty much an extrovert. So when I'm doing things like this, it doesn't like bother me. Like, I'm talking right now, and I don't say this in a way that's like I'm better than anyone, but right now there's 148 people or 153 people in TikTok live, and to me it doesn't bother me. Like there could be 5,000 in here, it doesn't matter. I just continue to say what I want to say. So but you'll get through it. Just stick to it. Eventually you'll get to the point where it feels natural. How's it going, Nick? You the man. What's up, Dan? How are you? Do you go live every day? Sunday through Thursday, I go live. Friday is my wife and I do date nights on Friday, spend some time together. And then Saturday, we typically do like fun things with friends. But Sunday through Thursday, I go live, same time, 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Yes, I go Sunday, Thursday. I don't know how to do it, but I want to do it. Can you teach? Yeah, I do. Again, I have a free side of my Discord, that I provide some commentary in there, but I do have like a VIP service that I do where I train people how to do Elliott Wave. Like all the stuff we did on live today, that's part of the VIP. I train people to do what I do or how I do it and the mindset into it, like how to have patience in the market, how to not be emotional in the market, how to take investing seriously rather than just gambling. So I do have a VIP membership coaching program where I train people on Elliott Wave, the way that I technical analyze, how I view charts. So everything that's included in the VIP, we do 3 coaching calls a week. So every Tuesday, Thursday, and Thursday is like coaching and mentorship. Those are those 2 coaching calls. And then on Sunday, we have a chart requests coaching calls. So throughout the week, all the VIPs put in the charts that they want to see. So they'll throw in Bitcoin, AMD, Solana, AVAX. They'll throw in whatever chart they want to see. And then on Sundays, we go down the list and I go into the chart and then do the wave counts, do the projections, everything we did today, but based on the chart requests that the VIPs had. So that's every Sunday. And then I have VIP resources in there. I have a PDF, guide. I have a couple different videos to help, just with coaching and mentorship. But that's all part of the VIP. And then I provide my own swing. Like whenever I take a swing trade, I put the alert in there. Anytime I buy something for a long-term hold, I put the alert in there. So that's all included inside of the coaching program. Thanks, Matt. I pretty new to you live. Liked your tech analysis. We'll keep looking at your videos. Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. I'm starting to get into the long form YouTube content, so look out for that tomorrow. I'll be doing another video. I only have one long form video on there. I had a wedding this past weekend, so my wife was in the wedding, and then I was kind of part of it because it was a couple of our best friends. So this week, it'll be a little bit less hectic, so I'll be able to do more of the long-term videos. I plan to do a YouTube video every day. So every single day, I want to do a long-form YouTube video. Did you cover Binance today? I did not, but I am about to log off, and then we'll pick up tomorrow. So whatever charts I didn't get to today, we'll pick up tomorrow. We can do that tomorrow. Thank you for the heads up, bro. Yeah, absolutely. All right, y'all. I am done talking. My voice and social battery is coming to an end, but I thought this was a great live. For those of you interested, I will be going live tomorrow, same time. We can cover the charts that I didn't get to today, yeah, we'll take it from there. Thanks, Nick. Absolutely, Freddie. I will see you on Tuesday for the next VIP call. But there's Freddie, aka Papa Bear. He's one of the VIPs, so he's in here, but he can speak to the service better than I could. Either way, I will be live tomorrow. I will see all of y'all tomorrow if you decide to join. If not, no worries. I will catch you in the next one. And hope you guys have a great rest of your night and a good start to your Monday morning. So I'll see y'all tomorrow.